Hallelujah.
Shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shalom, family.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom to the 12 tribes of Israel. Shabbat shalom to all our brothers and sisters scattered across the full field of the earth. Shabbat shalom to all the Gentiles who are serving the Most High in sincerity and truth. Through the blood of YEHUDAH, we give double honors to all the elders who are co-shepherding the people in sincerity and truth. To the leaders and chiefs, priests who are truly helping govern our people and keep us in righteous standing, we give double honors to you. To all the congregations, assemblies, camps, tribes, and families across the full field of the earth, may the Most High bless you, may keep you, may shine His face upon you. It's Ehkadmalkutministries coming to you under the house of ADAIYAH. We all want to say SAMEACH.
SAMEACH.
Happy festival, MATZOT, happy feast of unleavened bread, as we enter into the purging process in remembrance of what our ancestors went through as we came out of Egypt and entered into the wilderness. And so this is a special time, as we said, as the elders brought forth last night with a powerful, powerful lesson of understanding what the true understanding of Pesach is, and how Hamashiach, Yahushua, our master and our king, he is our Pesach in this hour, in this time, in this season. And we're just awaiting our king in this hour. And so with that being said, we have to understand that there must be a purging process. There must be a purging of leaven out of our system, because we understand that the bridegroom is coming for a bride without blemish, coming for a bride that's not tainted. You understand? And most surely coming for a bride that's prepared and ready. I understand the parable of the 10 virgins and the 5 who was ready and the 5 who wasn't, right? And we want to make sure that we are those 5 virgins who were ready with their lanterns lit. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So before we get started, we want to rise up and face Jerusalem as we lift up prayers to the Most High Yah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Father, we come to you in the name of Yahushua Mashiach, our King and our Master, with our hands raised to the sky and our heads bent, Father, as we sing the blessing of Aaron for all the children of Israel. In the name of Yahushua Mashiach, we sing. Yambarika Yahweh Yahweh Poriam Ehkadmalkutministries Yahweh Vanan Echad V'yasein Shalom V'yasein Shalom Yabarika Yahweh Ve'ishmerika Yahweh Poriam Ehkadmalkutministries Yahweh Vanan Echad V'yasein Shalom V'yasein Shalom. Amen. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
May He keep us. May His grace shine upon us. He will bless us. He will keep us. And may we continue to hear the voice of Yahweh El Elyon. By Hashem Yehoshua Mashiach. We pray. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Read after me. This is the book of Tehillim, Psalms, chapter 30. This is a song of deliverance. I will exalt thee.
I will exalt thee,
O Adonai.
O Adonai.
For thou hast lifted me up.
For thou hast lifted me up.
Has not made my foes.
Has not made my foes
To rejoice over me.
to rejoice over me.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
Eloheinu.
Eloheinu.
I cried unto thee.
I cried unto thee.
And thou hast healed me.
And thou hast healed me.
O Adonai.
O Adonai.
Thou hast brought up my soul.
Thou hast brought up my soul
From the grave.
from the grave.
Thou hast kept me alive.
Thou hast kept me alive.
And I should not go down.
And I should not go down
to the pit.
to the pit.
Sing unto Yahweh.
Sing unto Yahweh,
O ye saints of His.
all ye saints of His.
And give thanks.
And give thanks
At the remembrance of His holiness.
at the remembrance of His holiness.
For His anger endureth.
For His anger endureth
For the moment.
for the moment.
And His favor is life.
And His favor is life.
Weeping may endure for a night.
Weeping may endure for a night,
But joy cometh in the morning.
but joy cometh in the morning.
In my prosperity I said.
In my prosperity I said,
I shall never be moved.
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 Yahweh.
Yahweh.
El Elyon.
El Elyon.
By thy favor.
By thy favor.
Thou hast made my mountain.
Thou hast made my mountains
Stand strong.
to stand strong.
Thou didst hide thy face.
Thou didst hide thy face,
And I was troubled.
and I was troubled.
I cried to thee.
I cried unto thee,
O Eloheinu.
O Eloheinu,
And unto the Lord.
and unto the Lord
I made supplication.
I made supplication.
What profit is there in my blood?
What profit is there in my blood?
When I go down to the pit.
When I go down to the pit,
Shall the dust praise there?
shall the dust praise there?
Shall it declare thy truth?
Shall it declare thy truth?
Shema Yahweh.
Shema Yahweh.
And have mercy upon me.
And have mercy upon me.
Adonai.
Adonai.
Be thou my helper.
Be thou my helper.
Thou hast turned for me.
Thou hast turned for me
My mourning into dancing.
my morning to dancing.
Thou hast put off my sackcloth.
Thou hast put on my sackcloth
And girded me with gladness.
and girded me with
To
gladness.
the end.
To 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 the end.
That my glory may sing.
That my glory may sing.
Praise to thee.
Praise to thee.
And not be silent.
And not be silent.
Oh Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
Eloheinu.
Eloheinu.
I will give thanks.
I will give thanks
unto thee.
unto thee.
O thou me.
O thou me.
O thou me.
O thou me.
Hallelujah.
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 Hallelujah. Baruch Hashem.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
El Elyon.
El Elyon.
El Shaddai.
El Shaddai.
Hakadosh.
Hakadosh.
Israel.
Israel.
Zibaoth.
Zibaoth.
Yahireh.
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 Yahireh. Yahireh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem. Ba'ashem.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
Mashiach.
Mashiach.
My king.
My king.
My master.
My master.
My Lord.
My Lord.
Rain down.
Rain down.
Upon me.
Upon me.
Your ruach.
Your ruach.
Your blood.
Your blood.
And cover me.
And cover me.
Forever.
Forever.
And ever.
And ever.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Ruach HaKodesh.
Ruach HaKodesh.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yahweh.
Yahweh. Yahireh.
Forever.
Forever. Forever. Forever. Forever. Father.
On this day.
On this day.
We wage war.
We wage war.
Against Satan.
Against Satan.
And his kingdom.
And his kingdom.
Right now.
Right now.
Not later.
Not later.
But right now.
But right now.
On this
does.
Praise be to your holy name.
God, you ready?
Yes,
he does. Yes, he does.
I'll be new.
I'll be new.
Say my Shemaim.
Say my Shemaim.
Keep with that.
Keep with that.
Shemka.
Tabo. Malkut. Yes, sir. It's on God.
Keep my Shemaim.
Keep my Shemaim.
Gamba. Say la new.
Say la new.
Eleven.
Zarkenu. Zarkenu.
Hayom.
Hayom.
Umukah.
Umukah.
Lenuet.
Kabutainu.
Kimoshugah.
Kimoshugah.
Enaknu.
Enaknu.
Makalu.
Makalu.
Lekevienu.
Lekevienu.
Watavienu.
Watavienu.
Ledenisiyon.
Ledenisiyon.
Allah.
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 Hasilenu.
Mirah.
Mirah.
Kishoka.
Kishoka.
Malkut.
Malkut.
Wadabora.
Watafera. Leomei. Olamim. Baruch Hashem. Yahweh. Elyon. Ba'ashem. Yahushua. Mashiach.
We plead the blood.
We plead the blood.
We plead the blood.
We plead the blood. Yahushua. Mashiach.
Say la.
Say la.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Oh, hail you. Oh, hail you. Oh, hail you. Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Master world, we come to you, prostrate in heart, Father, in mind and in spirit, thanking you, not for just the good, but even for the bad. Knowing you use all things for the good of those that love you.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. We thank you for fashioning us after your own.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
We thank you for your
Hallelujah. Yah is good. You're good, oh Yah. You're good. Merciful Elohim. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
If we look to the right, there's no other power but yours. If we look to the left,
No variation.
there's only you, oh Yah. There is none like you. You are beautiful to behold, oh Yah. You are Kodesh in all your ways.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You are pure. In you there is no shadow of turning. There is no variance.
Hallelujah.
You are a rock. And you are the rock of our salvation, oh Yah. We thank you once again that we can come together under your mighty shadow of your righteousness. And we come under the blood of your Mashiach. He who took on flesh, that he might become as his kinsman, fashioned after flesh, but sin not in the flesh. Come and sin for us, but sin not.
Hallelujah.
Your ways are past finding out, oh Yah. High as the heaven is from the earth, So are your ways from our ways, Yah.
Hallelujah.
Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. Yes,
Kinu Yah.
blessed be your holy and magnificent name, O God. Hallelujah.
Father, we ask that you search the reins of our hearts, O God. We ask, Father, oh, yo, that you set a plumb line beside us, oh Father. You make any adjustments that need to be made in our spirit. Anything that is not like you, Yah.
Hallelujah.
We beg you.
Hallelujah.
Praise you, Father.
Do as
We
you
beseech
please, Father,
you,
with
O
this
Yah.
body, oh Yah.
Hallelujah.
Do as you please with this flesh.
Cleanse us. Make us whole.
Yes. Totally.
We hide not our sins from you,
At your feet.
but we lay them at your feet, Yah,
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
as an offering.
Yes.
Father, we need you.
More than this.
More than ever.
We need you, Yah.
Hallelujah. Shema Yahuwah.
Let us be sober-minded in this time. You are the way, the truth, and the life.
Hallelujah.
Any other man coming by any other way is coming as a robber and a thief.
That's right.
So we come through the straight way. We come through the straight gate, oh God. Humbling ourselves,
Hallelujah.
knowing that you are the only solution.
Give us.
You are the only redeemer.
Have mercy.
You are the only salvation in which a man can be saved.
Put upon us, Father, the blood of Yahshua.
Give us
home.
space that things like
No other God like you, Father. No other thing.
Lord, give us everything.
There's none like you. Father, we don't just seek you for your hand, Father, we seek you for your face. Cause your face to shine upon us.
Hallelujah.
We want to reflect your visage, your beauty, your holiness. We no longer want to entangle ourselves with the affairs of this life. But God, we want to be sold out to you. Show us how to do. Show us how to love you. Remember, we are but as blade as grass, Father, that when the heat comes up, the sun comes up. We can surely perish in a day. But God, in you, there's everlasting life.
Hallelujah.
There's eternity with you, God. Just move and breathe on us, God. And we will breathe, we will live. Teach us how to be still. Teach us how to have Selah when you are speaking and moving among your people. We thank you so much
Oh, that was Bob.
for coming in your midst. oh God. We thank you so much for allowing us to wake in our right minds and yet calling you. So many people have deviated from the faith and has chosen other powers of deliverance. Mercy on these small group of people. To know that in your name there is safety. To know that in your name there is shalom. To know in your name there is deliverance. For your name is a high tower.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And we run into you with the righteous is safe. Again, we get all in each and every part, every atom, every thought. We give our whole essence to you. Understanding that you are our creator. You are the author and the finisher of our faith. And we are all purposed in you. We have all committed to serve you with our midst of a godless generation, an unbelieving generation.
Yes, Father.
We will stand faithful and hold true to your name, hold true to your word, hold true to your commandments.
Hallelujah.
Right now, you are searching the earth to see if there's faith in her. Well, here we are. Here we are.
Here we are.
Here we
Hallelujah.
are. Here we are.
Here we are.
Hallelujah.
Here we are.
Here we are, Father.
Hallelujah, Father.
Here we
We
are.
here, Father. We here.
Here we are.
We are.
Let us be counted with the righteous, with your friend Abraham, with your servant Isaac and Israel. Thank you as we begin this service that you word the mouth of your servant MIKAEL. We ask that you take total control of this person. That he will feed your people with the sincere milk and meat of the word.
He will, Father.
Cover him. Yes, Father. Let him know only as you know, let him think only as you think. Yes, Father. And let him speak only as you would have him to speak. And we seal this prayer in the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Hallelujah.
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 Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Say loud.
Baruch
Hashem Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. Eloheinu Baruch Hashem Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. Elohei God. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, Yahweh. Peace down, Yahweh. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. Eloheinu Baruch Hashem
You praise your name.
We love you, man.
Hallelujah.
Yes, sir.
Most High, man. It's peace time. There shouldn't be no quiet voices. It shouldn't be no whispering. It shouldn't be no, I don't know if I want to praise the Most High. It's just about crying out and singing. Believe it or not, that's actually part of purging.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to go into that today. So, hallelujah. All praise to God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And his only begotten son, Yahushua Mashiach. This is a beautiful time we're in. Especially certain measures. Man, we're literally in the midst of a plague. And there's so much peace. Y'all feel that peace?
Hallelujah.
Like seriously, y'all feel the peace?
Came.
Yes,
Like
sir.
it shouldn't be nothing else on your mind except serving the Most High and being around some sincere brothers and sisters. And the fact that we get to experience that right now, you know, it's a beautiful feeling. So I want y'all to embrace this moment and thank the Most High, man. Like, really thank the Most High that we're here. I know we all tired. We've been working and trying to get to this point to make sure this feast, but that don't stop. Really, your energy should go up. You know what I'm saying? Your energy should be boosted up. You know what I'm saying? Because the Most High is allowing you to be a part of His feast. This ain't our feast. This is His feast.
Okay.
You feel me? And so you should be honored that He counted you as worthy to sit at the table amongst those who believe like you, to eat the bread of affliction. Huh? To partake of the land. He was saying, I'm giving you a piece of me until you really get the fullness of me when I return. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So get your energy up. Raise your vibration. Because we in a magnificent time. We all been through it. We all tired. But at the end of the day, just like fasting, once you get that extra boost, you forget that you even hungry.
Okay.
So I want that to be the same mindset we in now. Get that extra boost so you can forget that you're tired. Because at the end of the day, who provides you with the energy and strength anyway?
Yeah, right.
That's right. So who do you really believe in? Huh? So let's talk about it. So today's lesson is called Purging and Persecution is one and the same. Purging and persecution is one and the same. Who knows what purging means? Purge.
Cleanse. Pushing out.
Cleanse. Pushing out. Right? What else? Anybody got a different meaning? Or added on meaning to it? What does purging mean? Come on, let's talk. Let's communicate.
Removal.
Removal. Purging? Nah, I ain't dipping nothing in. It's definitely bringing something out. Alright, so that's pretty much the gist of it. Purging is to rid someone or something of an unwanted quality. Condition. Purging also means to atone and or wipe away. Or it could mean an abrupt violent removal. So what does that got to do with unleavened bread, huh? So now what does persecution mean?
You've been falsely accused of something, right?
Be accused. Okay.
Okay.
What else? Where my sisters at? What's persecution mean, sisters? Come on, why so quiet? What's persecution mean? Brothers, persecution. Yaakov, what does persecution mean?
Afflicted or condemned, and it is, whether it's false or not is irrelevant. It can be true, but you're still being condemned for it.
That was powerful what you said first. He said to be afflicted. So the definition of persecution is to be afflicted, to make them suffer, one suffer, or to be continually treated bad. How does this relate
to unleavened bread. But let's first start at Deuteronomy 16:1. Deuteronomy 16:1. And so as you see already, the definitions are very similar. Very similar. Deuteronomy 16:1. Good.
Devarim, chapter 16, verse 1. Observe the month of Abib.
Observe the month of Abib. So now we're going to get some history on what this looked like. Observe the month of Abib. Anybody know what Abib means? Yes.
Beginning of the new year for
Yeah, but how do we determine it?
it's when the spring and everything comes to life and like trees and stuff arise.
Renew, first mature barley. That's what Abib means. Right? So when people think that the land ain't got nothing to do with the feast, they actually do. Which when we get to that feast, you'll see exactly why the land has everything to do with determining when the feast days is. So month Abib or Abib means the maturity of the barley. Keep going.
And keep the Passover unto the Elohim. For in the month of Abib, the Adonai, thy Elohim, brought thee forth out of Egypt by night.
So what is that? What's the significance of that? What does the new year represent?
New life.
Huh?
New life.
New life, deliverance, renewed, new beginnings. How's that significant with the Israelites being led out of Egypt?
New beginning.
They had a new or renewed beginning. Huh? So remember, just like the body, you can't rebuild your body without cleansing it first. So we went over Passover. Passover is the willingness to be cleansed. Unleavened bread is the process of being cleansed. And so it's very significant at this point in time that this is when Israel was led out of Egypt during a renewed time of the year. See, Yah does nothing by chance or by chance. He has everything planned out for a purpose, even down to how we keep the months and even how we keep the Sabbaths. It's a representation of something or a purpose of something he's doing. He didn't say keep the feast by moon. He didn't say keep the feast by sun or stars. Now they do have everything to do with determining the new year, but he specifically said at this time in the month of Abib, remember that this is when you keep the Passover, and remember, so when I brought you out and renewed you or delivered you from the hands of Egypt. Understand? Keep going.
Verse 2. Thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto the Adonai, the Elohim of the flock and the herd in the place which the Adonai shall choose to place his name there.
So understanding that the feast was supposed to be kept where?
In the land.
In the land.
At the temple.
Okay. Keep going.
Thou shalt eat no leavened bread.
Thou shalt eat no leavened bread. Who remember what leaven means?
Yeast.
That causes a lump, right? Huh?
Yeah. Okay.
Anything that causes you to rise.
Anything that causes you to rise, or one who exalts himself, right? So he said, don't bring that attitude to the feast. Don't bring that same mindset to the feast. Don't bring that old man and your same problems you just had 3 months ago into the feast. Don't bring none of that leaven. Come on.
Thou shalt eat no leavened bread with it. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread therewith.
What does the 7 days mean?
Rest.
Every day of your life.
Huh?
It's completion.
Say that again.
Completion.
It means completion. So it was going to take a complete process for Israel to be thoroughly purged from their idolatry and their wickedness they was committing in Egypt. This is why this is significant. We have to understand, why do we keep this feast? Why do we do this in remembrance of the Most High and His Son? Everything is a shadow of things. Purging. You understand? Come on.
Even the bread of affliction.
What?
The bread of affliction.
The bread of affliction. Why is it called the bread of affliction? Why is it called the bread of affliction?
They were just leaving captivity, right? It couldn't have been that hard because Most High was doing all the work, right? Or did it have to do everything of them leaving that mindset behind? Them leaving that old man behind, right? And so, what does that got to do with purging and persecution? Both have to do with actually dying. Both have to do with actually dying. And so, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the bread of affliction, was a representation of you dying to yourself so that Yah can actually feel himself in you. And so, the Hebrew word for affliction is oni. Everybody say oni.
Oni.
It's H, it's the strong 60-40. What this means in the Hebrew is depression, misery, and poverty. What does that got to do with this bread? Because technically the bread is supposed to taste sweet. Is it?
No.
Have you ever had sweet affliction? Anybody ever had sweet and good feeling affliction? No. Did they have seasonings and all that? It ain't no problem with it, but did they have seasonings in the wilderness?
It was bland.
It was bland. It was just
Nothing appealing to the flesh.
nothing appealing. Because Yah's not here to appeal to the flesh, he's here to appeal to the spirit. Just like fasting. You never actually get the revelation until he's purged all the flesh and all the gook out of you. And then you start to have revelation in the spirit. You know what I'm saying? And so this is what this bread of affliction means. This was a representation of all of that BS about you. Before you truly come to serve me and fulfill your purpose, I need all that BS up. And so the root word from oni or affliction is ana. Everybody say ana.
Ana.
You know what ana means? It means to submit oneself or humble thyself.
How you spell that out?
Ana. A-N-A-H. And so this bread was really the bread of humble beginnings. It was the bread of humble beginnings. Because with Yah, it's just like this when it comes to a relationship, right? Especially in this season, where it's nothing but wickedness. Truly, when a man takes on a wife, especially who's been through the system, what is he doing? He's redeeming her, but at the same time purging her for what she thought she knew. What she thought was right. And we got to realize this has to be a whole man. This has to be a whole. It can't be a broken man to do this because he still needs to be fixed. So it's only going to take a righteous and holy one to show us the way. But he said first, you got to first leave that. Come over here, baby. You got to let that go. That system you believe in, you think you rule over a man, and you thinking that you're going to serve other Elohim and I just kind of bow down to you. Oh, baby, you got to leave that. You got to let that go. And that was Israel. And look, Israel was a representation of the modern day harlot today. Because as we was coming out, what were we doing? We was technically kicking and screaming. Yeah. Oh, I want to go back. When I was in Egypt, I ain't had to deal with this. Would God bring us all the way out here to forsake us? We weren't used to this type of love. Because we were so used to being whipped and being broken down and being fed anything. We didn't know that love was just truth of being revealed of who we truly were and what we need to get rid of. And that's what the state we in today is. We sometimes don't want to face the reality of who we are. And then you get in the presence of light and you try to run from it. You try to hide yourself. So the bread of affliction was you having to face the reality that you were still broken and it need to be things to let out. This is why he said you could not come into the feast with leaven. Because the feast is what? Celebration is a festival. And if you still got darkness and evilness in your wickedness, how can you choose on Yah's bread? Remember, they couldn't even go to the land of milk and honey yet. They had to be purged. Israel was technically still in the courting process in the wilderness.
Dang, 400 years of a mentality that needs.
400 years. Today. Ain't that beautiful when the same season plays? It's been 100+ years and we still fighting and kicking to let go of Egypt or Babylon. Huh? And this is why you see a great falling away right now, because y'all saying some of you ain't worthy of this type of bread because you don't see the bigger picture. I'm trying to get all this out of you so I can give you something greater. But if you come in with that same Babylonian or Egyptian mindset, you will take the very thing I want to bless you with. This is why when it comes to this time of the year, you still feel the same way you did 6 months ago. Because you haven't went through the tilling process and laying the foundational seeds in your life to lead up to this point of you being renewed. Because this is when life starts to bloom. You start planting the seeds in the spring and summertime and fall. So by the time new spring comes, you can actually bloom in the right way. It doesn't have to be forced. Because it was a willingness. That's what Passover is, a willingness to become new. A willingness to cross over from the life that you thought was true into the true life of Yah. So by the time you get to the process of purging, it's just nothing but going through the process. You're going through the motion till your time is coming. And so this is what the bread of affliction represented. We can keep reading.
Okay. I'll start back. Thou shalt eat no leavened bread with it. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread therewith, even the bread of affliction,
even the bread of humbling yourself.
For thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt in haste.
In what?
Haste.
In what?
Haste.
What did he say? He said when you come, make what? Haste.
Okay.
He was telling you when he's calling upon you, make haste. Some of us got this thing we always want to say, well, I'm just not there yet. I haven't got there yet. But don't try to rush me because I'm not like you. I'm not going to, if you can fix your mouth to say that, you can change right there. If you can fix your mouth to tell yourself that you ain't there yet, you can fix your attitude to say, I can actually change. What a man thinketh, so what? So is he. So what you're really saying when you say I can't change is, I don't want to. I'm not on y'all's time, I'm on my time. That's what you're saying. Right? Because the minute you heard the truth and you bear witness to it and said, oh yeah, this is the truth, you told Yah you understood exactly his words. Therefore, the moment you understood it and accepted it, that's when your time started. And for some of us, it took years to get on the right path. I guarantee some of us feeling it now. We say to ourselves, man, I wish I would have just listened the first time.
Okay.
I would have went through all the I'm going through now. 5 baby mamas. Had to go through a drug problem. I'm still fornicating. Life is totally backwards, contrary to when I first heard the word. And that's the state that we're in. We don't want to turn from our vomit. We love it. We love it. We'd rather lick the vomit and eat the bread of affliction and go through the necessary steps to be renewed. So we can really understand our being. You understand?
Okay.
I know for me, this has been the greatest time that I've come into that month for our being.
Facts.
I feel so renewed.
Okay.
I feel so renewed. Because I knew before the new year came in, I purged a lot of things. Willingly. Elder did too. We purged a lot of things willingly. And we can boldly stand in the new year and say hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Because we took the necessary steps to do it ourselves. We willingly took the bread of affliction so y'all ain't have to force it. But when y'all force it, he take more than he really needs just so you can understand that he can take that from you. And he'll take it again. And he'll take everything so you understand. At the end of the day, you're going to come back to y'all one way or another. Kicking and screaming or willfully. I'd much rather take it willfully. Once Paul got a real taste of Hamashiach, that man turned his life around quick.
Haste.
In haste. And he was confident in it, wasn't
Hey.
he? Quickly. But what did he have to do first?
He had to purge
He
himself.
had to blind that man. He had to show him that your ways ain't my ways.
Yeah.
You think you gonna persecute me? Nah, I'm gonna show you power. And then when I'm done, you gonna have a choice. Either be a minister to the Gentiles or die. Man, Paul, now my eyes can see.
Okay.
Let's get to it. Let's get to it. You know what I'm saying? That's how we gotta come into this thing ready to get to it. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Let's keep reading.
For thou camest out of the land of Egypt in haste, that thou mayest remember the day when thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt, all the days of thy life. And there shall be no leavened bread seen with thee in all thy coasts. Days, neither shall there anything of the flesh which thou sacrificest the first day at even.
Ooh, what put this in the spiritual understanding. He said, neither shall there anything of the flesh which thou sacrifice the first day. What does that first day represent? The minute you came into the knowledge of the understanding, it should have been gone out. You should have made haste to serve the Most High.
Okay.
Because obviously you've been praying for however many years of your life to find the truth. You just didn't know it was going to come this way. The first day, the minute you heard this, you should have purged yourself. You should have purged yourself. Because guess what? The minute you really start purging yourself, then you're going into the process. And now he's starting to refine you and mold you. You understand? But he's saying first, you got to make that step. You got to make that step first. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Come on.
For thou mayest sacrifice the Passover, Slika. Thou mayest not sacrifice the Passover within any of thy gates, Adonai the Elohim giveth thee. But at the place which the Adonai the Elohim shall choose to place his name in, there shalt thou sacrifice the Pesach. At even, at the going down of the sun, at the season that which thou camest forth out of Egypt. And thou shalt roast and eat it in the place which the Adonai the Elohim.
So now y'all got to understand how Passover is supposed to go. Right? This is the true ordinance. 3 times a year shall all men meet in Jerusalem. That's how it was ordained to be originally. With the temple, with the priest, with the lamb. So now y'all get a historical understanding of how this is supposed to go. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And thou shalt roast in the place which the Adonai the Elohim shall choose. And thou shalt turn in the morning and go unto thy tents. 6 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread. And on the 7th day shall be a solemn assembly. To the Adonai thy Elohim. Thou shalt do no work therein.
Hallelujah. And so another understanding also of anah or afflict, it also means to testify or to cry out. And so, give me Exodus 3. Why am I saying it? Because unleavened bread has really multiple meanings in one. So we got to understand that it means it's a process of purging out the old man or killing off the flesh, right? But it was also a representation of the cry that Israel gave to the Most High. Come on. Exodus 3 and 6.
Book of Exodus 3 and 6. Moreover he said, I am the Elohim of thy father, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, and the Elohim of Jacob. And Moses and his face. Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon Elohim. And the Adonai said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people.
I have surely seen what?
The affliction of my people, which are in Kemet.
Which are what?
Kemet.
Come on.
And I heard their cry.
And have what?
Heard their cry.
And have heard their cry. Come on.
By reason of their taskmaster. Know their sorrows.
And that's what the bread also means too. It means the bread of crying. the bread of testifying in God. That's what we was calling on once we really figured out what was going on.
Okay.
We start calling and crying unto the Most High. So this bread also represents your prayers being heard, your cry being heard by the Most High. Right? It's being heard. Do you think that prayer went up in righteousness? You think it went up clean?
Okay.
It had to grieve him to hear that cry. It grieved him to hear that cry. But guess what? Most High said he can't deny contrite heart. He can't deny that. This represents the cry of Israel going up to the Most High. It was grieving to him. It grieved him to hear this type of cry. We said, I heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their affliction. This is where we get to understand that your sorrows is my work. My sorrows.
Okay.
So now y'all's afflicted because his people was afflicted. But all he trying to do is get us to understand and just leave off the old man. So I can actually adorn you. So you can actually be a representative of my glory. Just leave. Leave that off. But I love you so much, I gotta come save you. I gotta come save you. So this bread represents even the grievousness that y'all have to endure by the cries of Israel. Understand? So when we take this bread, let it be a representation of everything that went on during this time. The time of affliction, during the time of persecution, and the cry of the children of Israel. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So let's go to John 15. Because we have to understand, Yah truly delivered us by way now of his son. Even during the time of Moses, that bush, when Mashiach. He's been there. Always. And it's always been by way of his son that we had to be delivered. Hallelujah.
Yeah. So,
John, yes.
no, you can.
Let's go to John 15. John 15, 16.
The book of Yohanan, chapter 15, verse 16. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you.
Right.
And ordained you that ye shall go and bring forth fruit.
This is the purpose. You didn't get called into this truth just to be saved. You actually got called to do a reasonable duty, a reasonable service, which is to bring forth fruit in the glory of the Most High.
And that your fruit shall remain. And whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it to you. Give it you. These things I commanded you, that ye love one another.
That ye what?
Love one another.
Love one another. Come on.
In the world, if the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated
This
you.
is part of the bread of affliction. This is why he said, you do this in remembrance of what? Me. That's what he was showing. Once you took up this bread, you're saying, I'm going to take on the affliction of Christ. You know why you had to go through that? Because he had to go through it to you. And every debt must be paid. Every debt. And so you had to pay the cost by now because he became a sacrifice. You must now become a sacrifice to him. You understand? But he can't do that with anybody who still has leaven in it. He can't do that. We're going to see what type of people thought they were serving y'all on their own terms. Come on.
If you were of the world, of his own.
Right. And if you were of Egypt, if you were of Babylon, they would love you. If you were tripping out during this coronavirus, they would love you.
Dang.
They would love you. But because we stand boldly and we have confidence in y'all, they think we crazy. They think we lunatics, right?
Okay.
They don't understand the purging process we had to go through this morning. You understand? They don't understand that yet because they are the ones who are crying in the wilderness talking about let's go back to Egypt. They don't want to return back to their heritage because it takes too much work and they actually got to put hand to the plow. That was Israel's problem. We wanted to be babysat. We didn't want to put the work in. We wanted to moan and groan, all that. Not realizing he saved our lives from the most wicked nation at that time in the world. The most wicked. Come on.
But because ye are not of the world, but I have taken you out of the world, therefore the world hated you. Remember the word that I have said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also.
Hallelujah. And this is what this represents, us taking on Christ's walk. What did he say? Be ye perfect as your Father in heaven.
Hallelujah.
You're taking on, when you take this bread, you're saying, I'm going to do what Christ did. Don't take that bread out of just because traditions of men. Because that's what that becomes. When you don't remember the purpose of why we're doing this, and you just do it because it's that time of the year, it doesn't become a feast of Yah, it becomes a tradition of men. And we're going to see that. We're going to see how Mashiach talked to the Pharisees when they started doing these things, taking on these feasts. Because what they started doing, they started adding. They started to add on how they feel like the feast should go. Rather than what thus saith Yah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
But all these things will they do for my name's sake, because they know not him that sent me. If I had not spoken unto them, they had not had sin. But now they have no cloak for their sin. He that hated me hated my Father also.
And so that's what you do. When you start eating this bread, you now have a stamp on you. You now testify to the heavens that you will walk like Christ. When you partook of the lamb and the bitter herb, you are identified with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as the one who led you out of Egypt. You understand? So you don't do this because you feel like you got to do it. You do this because you're remembering why you're doing it. Okay? So this is the point where you should not be the same as you. Next year, y'all whether we're still here, or y'all whether we ain't, we back home. Whatever the case is, you should not be the same even by the next feast. Every day you should be purging yourself and dying to yourself every day. Believe it or not, this whole life we in is actually the purging process. You never actually get done with the purging process until we get to the kingdom. And this is why he said, he that endureth to the end shall be what?
Saved.
What does that mean? It means now, once you're saved, you're what? You're redeemed.
Okay.
Now you found your land of milk and honey, your place of peace. But this life is not meant to actually get easier. You're just supposed to get stronger and learn how to endure. And that's what the bread of affliction is supposed to represent. Because when you actually eat the real bread of affliction, it's supposed to be kind of tough to chew. It should be kind of hard to get through. And that's a representation of you. That this world can't really break you. They may shake you a little bit. They may have you fall a little bit. But ultimately, you're a tough cookie. Huh? You're supposed to be a tough cookie. Okay? So are we getting to understand what this really means? Unleavened bread? Because even in your affliction, you're supposed to be taking it cheerfully. Because remember, he said this is a feast, but he also said this is a solemn assembly. So that goes back now to Sirach. If thou comest to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. And when thou comes to a low estate,
And that's when it becomes, my yoke is easy, my burden is light.
Hey,
Look at the world.
That's the part. Once you accept the process, it should really be easy at this point. When things happen to you, you should be like, I was part of the process. Cool. Next. Come on with it. Just come on through. Let's get it over with. Let's get it done. Quicker you get me through this process, the quicker I can see my Elohim.
Right.
That's right.
It's just like this. When you in fasting, right? You at that moment of hunger and thirst. And man, you start praying, praising, and reading a book. You forget that you hungry. Because now you in the Shamayim with it. Now you start to get a revelation of these scriptures that you never understood before until you start afflicting yourself and being able to see past the affliction. This is why Daniel was able to have so many visions. This is why he was able to get taken up to the Shamayim in the spirit, because he didn't let the flesh get to him. And that's what this represents, you not letting your flesh get to you. Hallelujah?
Hallelujah.
You understand? We going to fall short. But it's when we consistently want to go down the rabbit holes. When we consistently want to go down the dark pit and make excuses of them. I don't know why I keep doing it. Bro, if you can say you don't know why, you can definitely tell yourself you ain't got to do it. You know what I'm saying? So let's get to Luke 12. Right?
You mind if I share something?
Yeah, please.
Let's go to chapter 6, the book of John, verse 6. Go to chapter 6 and 33, verse 33.
Oh, that's great.
We'll start at 32. Then Yehoshua said unto them, Truly, truly, I say unto you, Moses gave you not the bread from heaven, but my Father giveth you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of Elohim is he which come down from the Shamayim and giveth life unto the world. Then said they, Adonai, evermore, give us this bread. And Yehoshua said unto them, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst. But I said unto you, that ye also have seen me and believe not. All that the Father giveth me shall come to me, and him that cometh to me I will no wise cast out. For I came down from heaven, not to do my own will, but the will of him that sent me. And this is the Father's will which hath sent me, that of all which he hath given me I shall lose nothing, but I shall raise it up again in the last day. And this is the will of him that sent me, that everyone which seeth the Son and believeth on him may have everlasting life. And I will raise him up at the last day. And the Jews murmured at him, because he said, I am the bread which came down from heaven. This is the bread.
Dang. This is the bread. That's why he said what? Man shall not live by bread alone.
I received out of Malkut. And then he said, is that living bread that came down from the Shamayim.
Amen.
We receive him, we receive life everlasting. When we partook of the lamb and we broke his body and we shared the body of him, we partook of that. We did that in remembrance of his suffering. And we did that as a memorial. And now as we eat these 7 days that unleavened bread, we're doing it commemorating what he did. Right? And so even as we read this word, and yes, we read it every day. We eat that bread daily. But what makes this day sacred, what makes these 7 days set apart, is that again, all of the feasts are indicative of him. So when he said the bread that came down from Shamayim, that means we are quickened by that bread. We are quickened by the word. Okay?
Hallelujah. Let's get to Luke 12. What verse? We're going to start at verse 1. Luke 12, verse 1.
Want to read that out?
Sure. Book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 1.
In the meantime, when there were gathered together an unnumberable multitude of people, insomuch that they trode one upon another, he began to say unto his disciples, first of all, beware ye of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy.
Which is hypocrisy. This is the problem. This is the type of leaven he wanted us to not be a part of. Because, again, Israel going into Egypt. Remember, we originally went to Egypt actually understanding Torah. You know what I'm saying? We went to Egypt understanding Torah, and then we lost our way over those 400 plus years trying to do exactly what the enemy did. Always trying to follow the ways of the enemy. And see, it's the same thing when it came to this time. Because Rome was nothing but a replica of Egypt. Idols, man worship, going on the same thing. And so the Pharisees and Sadducees were going down the same rabbit hole. How do we know this? Look at when it came to picking Yahushua over Barabbas. Who did they rather choose? They chose a murderer over one who stood boldly for the word of Yah.
And they snitched on him, talking about he's calling himself king and Caesar's king.
Mm-hmm. They said they would rather serve Caesar, a man who worshiped a plethora of idols. They would rather serve a man who had many gods than the one who came in the name of Yah. Just like Israel said they would rather eat the bread of Egypt than the bread of Yah. This is what they were saying. Like we went over yesterday, they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly who Yahushua was when he came in the flesh. But because they couldn't do it their own way and do it according to their own understanding, they would rather turn their back on him and give him up to the heathen so that they can still live their life how they want. And that's what you see even today in our own community. People talking about people making videos. Some people don't even gather because they still want to do their own thing. They don't want to be around the light. They don't want to be around the light, so they choose to be by the light. Same thing we see today. Same thing. Let's go ahead.
I was about to say, and not just basically love the heat, but also they chose to fear the king as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's just as much as serving, just like today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people would rather fear, you know, the government body as opposed to the Most High, and let that determine how they're supposed to be in their everyday life.
Right. Yeah. And so he told him, he said, don't have the leaven that the Pharisees carry, because the Pharisees, although they prophesied and spoke with their mouths the word of Yah, their action was totally different.
That's why Mashiach said, do as they, but don't do as they do.
Mm-hmm.
That what they're teaching you is right.
Mm-hmm.
But they're hypocrites. They're actors.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was the leaven of the hypocrite. That was the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees. You know, they put themselves in Moses' seat.
Yep.
They put themselves in the priestly order, which they weren't. One thing they weren't even ordained to do. Then, second of all, when they were doing it, establishing a political body, not a spiritual.
It's just like when they went by the challenge the Messiah with the woman, the adulterous woman. They say, hey, you know, according to the law, shouldn't we stone her?
Right.
Try to have him stoned.
Facts.
He said he who was without sin stone, what they
dropping them rocks.
See, what you gotta understand is Yahushua was pulling their car.
Facts.
And without even being respectful. Okay, if you without sin, go ahead and do it. He ain't do it.
Facts.
He said, okay.
Get the throwing.
And this is where that whole understanding of beam, get that beam out your eye. Get that, you want to sit here and do law, and then you can start looking into your life and your personal life. You ain't doing nothing according to the law.
Right.
You ain't even trying.
You just want to orchestrate and do your thing behind the scenes. Because you really want the power of Yah. That's what you're saying. And so technically you have the same thought process that Satan did when he tried to say he wanted to take Yah's throne.
That's right.
That's what you're saying.
Exactly what you said.
When you want to be a hypocrite and not do as Yah said do, but you want to teach as Yah teaches, and think you ain't got to follow it yourself, but everybody else got to do, you're saying you are the seed of Satan.
You want to utilize the scripture to fit your life. When he said, you know, he was without sin, you know, cast the first stone. Okay, well, where's the, y'all say y'all caught her in act, so where's the guy that you caught her with? He should be here too, right?
I mean, they were caught in the act. She said she was caught in the act of adultery.
Yeah, so where
There's a
is
good chance that they slept with her too.
It was. How do y'all know?
Hey.
How do y'all know? And what's taking y'all so long to do it yourself? Same thing when it came to Caesar. He said, what reason should I shoot this man? They couldn't even really give him no reason. He said, wipe my hands, blood on y'all hands.
Right.
They were so wicked, they said, yeah, okay, cool.
So first they want to go stone this woman without Caesar, but now they want to bring him to Caesar.
And then say they were so thirsty to do it, they said, we'll put the curses upon our children.
Right.
Wow.
Let this curse be upon.
Let this curse be upon us and our children. That's what our ancestors did. Because we didn't want to leave off that old man. We want to be purged and serve God according to the way he wanted, and not ourselves. Let's keep reading.
Verse 2. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed.
Right, so you think you not to partake, because some people won't partake of it because they're like, oh no, I just don't want it. I just don't want to do it. It don't matter. You hide it or not. What you do in the dark always come to light. It will always come to you're going to have to face it one day. And so why not take it on yourself rather than having Yah force his hand upon you? Because it would be far worse and it would be far longer. You don't know when you coming about that thing.
And when y'all do it, he put you out there butt naked in the middle of the street.
That's why I say one thing that's covered that should not be revealed. You're going to take you somebody play with you sleep. You know, all you got on is your drawers and maybe a few other garments. They just swipe the cover up off you. Like, ooh, it's cold. It's chilly. What you do that for? The same thing, well, you going to swipe that cover off of. Yeah, you're going to feel this. You're going to feel every inch of it. You're going to be cold. You're going to feel like I ain't there with you. I'm going to feel like I ain't there with you. Knowing the whole time he actually there. He just want to see if you actually just going to humble yourself. Or not. The bread of humble beginnings. Are you going to humble yourself enough to say, I submit to you, not myself no more?
Okay. Verse 2. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Therefore, whosoever ye have, therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light.
Right. And the thing is, crazy thing is, this season is forcing us to be with family. You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest. People get gathering together in these big organizations. And in the midst of the feast, they still got beef. They still got beef. They still talking about each other. They still slandering each other about who doctrine is off and all that other stuff. Then they come together just like the Pharisees and Sadducees did. All of a sudden, y'all arguing all this bickering. Now y'all in agreement. Okay. Now y'all in agreement. Because now your doctrine is getting tested. Now your doctrine is getting tested. And you got to be true to what you've been teaching. Now you got to stand on what you've been teaching people. And that's what we see today. People are not taking these feasts to the seriousness is supposed to be kept. And truly, that's because people are really leaving Mashiach out of it. Even those professing his name, they're leaving Mashiach out of it. And this is why you really don't see, you see fruits, but you don't see the right fruits. You see spoiled fruits. Kind of look like a good apple, but got a little brown blemish on it. You know what I'm saying? You know man by the fruit, right? You know about the spirit of the fruit. Let's keep going. Let's go to Mark 7.
You want me to finish verse 3?
Yes, please.
Therefore, whatsoever ye spoken in darkness shall be heard in the and that which ye have spoken in the ears and closets shall be proclaimed upon the rooftops.
You can't escape it. You can't escape. You're gonna get purged either way. Either you're gonna get temporary, or you're gonna get purged permanently. Okay. On this day, choose who you shall serve: your sin or righteousness. Mark 7. Verse 1.
Everyone have it?
Okay.
Mark 7, verse 1. Then came together unto him the Pharisees and certain of the scribes, which came from Jerusalem. And when they saw some of his disciples eat bread with defiled, that is to say, with unwashed hands, they found fault.
Right. So now they going to so much extreme. Now they talking about so they eating food without washing their hands. Now they eating food and you just gonna allow them to do that, huh? They went to certain extremes now because they ain't washed their hands. Now we gonna they at fault now. Come on.
Okay. For the Pharisees and all the Jews, except they wash their hands off, eat not, holding the traditions of the elders.
Or they say tradition, yeah. You see what I'm saying? Some people read past that. They telling you right here, they're not serving Yah.
Tradition of men.
They're serving the tradition of men. According to the tradition of men, you supposed to before you eat.
And bro, they didn't do no like hand washing. They would bring out big old basins. They had these long rows, do this big old ceremonial washing, dipping in, and all of this big ceremonial stuff. It make it show, so they would get the attention of the people. And they started this tradition in order to say, are you really a part of this class of Pharisees or this priest class? See what I'm saying? And this is what really proves you as whether you were a teacher or more elder or whatever, or you were a rabbi. See what I'm saying? So he was breaking their traditions. But where did we see any of those traditions?
Exactly.
You don't tradition, and he's going to tell you that.
Okay. And that's what he was trying to show. Like, they were so thirsty to persecute the Messiah, everybody around them, that they started choosing man over Yah. They started to choose man over God. And these supposed to be scholars. People who were sharp in the book. Precept upon precept, line upon line. Do we not see that same spirit today? Oh, you don't keep the feast during the dark moon, you going off. Or you don't keep the feast during this time, you going off. You don't wear your fringes a certain way, you going off. But let's be honest. The Bible is more of a summarized book of events. Like you said, it's so much the Messiah did, you can't even put in books. You can't even put it in books. But he did talk about those who got the big, long zeets, the flashy garments, praying in front of everybody, fasting, letting the whole world know they fasted. He talked about them though, didn't he? Hanging out in the marketplace.
Right. They be sitting in the corner.
Right. Want to be seen. You see that today, just in a different type of version. call YouTube. Be honest with you. What they call it clickbait. That's hanging in the marketplace nowadays. Let me put an extravagant evil title on here. Jake gets slain by the word. Esau gets cut, sliced, and diced on his word of God. The prophesied so heavy it shook Esau's feet. Then you click on the video, it don't even be half of that.
Be disappointed.
I was waiting to see the magic trick. You know what I'm saying? It's just the truth. You see that today. It's just in modern. It's in a modern way. It's in a modern way. The longest and most flashiest garment. Honestly, the Louis Vuitton garment. I'm like, yo, what? What is going on? But again, it's turned into let me show what I look like outwardly rather than let me show what I look like inwardly. It's a lot of fake love. And this is why Messiah came back on the scene to restore the spirit and love, the Torah back in the earth to those who are truly seeking. Because you do got those who are beguiled and just seduced by what they see. You got a lot of new babes who really don't know what the hell they're talking about, but they come through and thinking that's the right way to do things. And they'll sit here and argue with you about something they can't even break down themselves.
That's right.
Because they're following the wave of the Pharisees and Sadducees of the day. This is called, we got a hybrid Pharisees. We got hybrid Pharisees and Sadducees 2.0. It's different now. You know the difference? The Pharisees and Sadducees then, they didn't profess the name of the Messiah. Today they do. Today they do though. And we'll see exactly what he's talking about. Watch this, come on.
And the core thing with the Pharisees is they just all wanted attention.
That's it.
That's it. They just wanted attention.
That's it.
They couldn't recognize the Messiah because he didn't come as flashy enough for them.
Mm-hmm. They had a power base. Jerusalem back then was a theocratic government. It was a theocracy. And the priest class, even though the priest class were really, you had the priests, you had the Levitical priesthood, but then you also had the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the scribes. And they had a lot of political clout with the people. And basically, and so they had a certain amount of authority with the people. Because you gotta think about it. They, like what we have as politicians now, you know, that's voted in. And they basically, it's certain people, they vote in certain people to get the needs, certain people get voted in so they have certain needs met. Well, certain Pharisees and Sadducees was put in certain positions by the people based on their political clout. So a lot of them had power, and they had a lot of power and influence over the people, so the people really feared them. But what you're going to see is that Mashiach is trying to return the people back to the Father by way of the proper way of keeping the word and tearing down their traditions. Well, their tradition was an oral tradition that they put a hedge around. So Yah wasn't getting worship. These men were getting worship because they put this doctrinal hedge around to where they were the gatekeepers. And so people wasn't worshiping Yah. They were worshiping by way of doctrine. See, and that's what happens now. If you establish doctrine, and even if you're taking bits and pieces of Torah, but you're still mingling it with your who's really getting worship? Okay. Okay?
Let's continue.
Verse 4. And when they came from the market, except they wash, they eat not. And many other things there be, which receive to hold. as the washing of cups and pots, basins, vessels of the tables. Then the Pharisees and scribes asked him, why walk not thy disciples according to the traditions of the elders?
You see, again, they're showing themselves. They're asking the one who the Word who was made in flesh, why aren't you having your disciples follow man? Huh? Having your disciples follow man. We see that today. Y'all should be under my teacher. We the home of the truth. We got the truth. You see this today. We are living in the time of Mashiach. We are living. This is the day he was. This is the time he was testifying about. When you start seeing these things, when he say, when people come in acting like a Mashiach, these are all signs of his coming. Okay, because some people are gonna be deceived, and you see that today. Some believe if Mashiach is on this earth already. Come on.
Eat the bread with unwashed hands. 6. He answered and said unto them, well had Elias prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, this people honored me with their lips.
Hold on, he say y'all? He say he talking about him. You know that this is what type of time? He's talking about people who actually honored the Mashiach with their lips. He was speaking prophecy right in front of them. We know they didn't believe in him. Come on.
But their hearts is far from me. Howbeit in vain do they worship me.
Howbeit in vain they do worship me. Come on.
Teaching for doctrines the commandments of men.
The commandments of men. Come on.
But line aside the commandments of God.
Now it's the difference, right?
Okay.
This is why I said study thyself approved. You got to be able to decipher these things. Is what you talking to me about, is it of man or is it of God? This is why he asked them specifically, was the baptism that John gave, was it of man or was it of God? And they couldn't even answer that. Because they knew if they answered that, they'd be putting their foot in their mouth.
Okay.
You ask people today, because you got people who shun baptism. You ask that question to watch their face frown up. Was the baptism that John did, was it of God or was it of man? Since you don't believe in washing of the water, since you don't believe in immersion, was that John did of God? Or was it of man? Because obviously Mashiach did it, and those after him did it.
That's right.
And obviously John got it from somewhere. Because we could find that during even the time of Levi himself. Okay? Keep going.
But laying aside the commandments of God, ye hold the traditions of men, as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such like things.
Right.
And he said unto them, full well ye reject the commandments of God, that ye may keep your own tradition.
So this proves what? He never was coming to do away with God's laws.
Okay.
He was coming away to do away with laws.
That's right.
He never said, I come to change Yah's laws. He said, I write no new commandment, but the commandment of old, since the what? Beginning. He wasn't coming to change. He wasn't coming to change none of that. But how men started to keep the feast, he came to change and do away with. Because these men who were supposed to shepherd over the sheep started to sway the sheep away from the one who gave them the feast, which was Yah. This is why he came in and he had to restore the balance. Because we were going off and started to do commandments of men. We started to do the ordinance of men, not of God. You understand? And you see it right here. You see it right here. It's clear as day. He's blowing down on them or the traditions of man, not the traditions of God. So how we get this concept that you ain't got to keep God's feast? Because when he said your feast days, he said I despise your feast days. He wasn't talking about Passover and none of that. Because that's his feast days. But what was he talking about?
Feast of man.
Feast of man, because we started to create our own feast now.
Yeah.
I mean, case in point, although we keep it, but it's really truly only a few major feasts. Feast of Purim, is that man or God?
God. Huh? It is? Okay.
It's tradition of man. Is it the Torah?
No.
What about Feast of Dedication?
Nope.
No, I'll take that back. Feast of Dedication is.
Yeah.
Feast of Purim is not.
Okay.
Feast of Purim is not. We did that during the time of Esther. Feast of Dedication was actually called a dedication to the altar. That's different. Okay?
Okay.
That's just one example. Do we got to keep that?
No.
No, we don't.
Not commanded.
It's not commanded of Yah.
Right.
It's not commanded of Yah. You start to see the difference now, right?
Okay.
So this is what he was coming to tell you. What I'm doing away with is the commandments of men.
So let's take what the church does now. Right? What the church does now, it tells you it'll keep Mother's Day. Right? It'll keep Easter. It'll keep Christmas. These are the big main feasts, or we call them feasts, of the Christian church. This is where nobody else may not come. The whole year to church. But they'll come to church around those times. And so these false teachers and false leaders, doctrine, using the Bible as a means and a way to attract people, but it really misleads them back to dead or the traditions of devils or traditions of men. Well, what Hamashiach was doing, he was dealing with the religious leaders then. These religious were very extreme in their religiosity. Like they were literally, like we talked about the praying and the fasting openly. They would do all of these things openly. But it was to attract and deviate people away from Yah. What is the love of Yah?
Keep the commandments.
Keep his commandments. So if now your tradition is overriding the law, the commandments of Yah, again, the same thing what I just asked. Who's really being loved? Who's really being honored? These men. These men are being honored. Not Yah. So Hamashiach comes in, and he comes in, and he's here to upset the political order, the religious political order at the time. And all he's doing is, again, what? Here to save the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Yah never wanted all of these traditions. He never wanted. He wanted to have his people as a theocratic people, as a theocratic, prophetic, royal priesthood. He wanted his people to freely love him. Freely love him. When we had judges, that was it. And those judges was our. But they turned this into something else. These men were in line with Rome, Edom. They were in alignment with all of these different political orders, military orders at the time. Pretty much what you see now with the Christian church. Okay? So,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
I was about to say, a couple of weeks ago, we had a lesson. You gave a lesson about the chief cornerstone.
Okay.
And, you know, when we're dealing with architecture or anything like that, we know that when you're building something, everything has to be accurate to the inch, to the centimeter. Not if you cut pieces a little, you know, basically an inch off or something, it throws everything offline. So
Okay.
when you get to the end of it, it's not straight, it's way over
It
here.
is deviated.
And this is where we are, you know, from keeping the Sabbath to now we're over Sunday. You know, keeping, you know, Passover to Easter. It's like we've just, you know, veered all the way off. So when he's talking about the traditions of man, you see where the Pharisees were basically going. You know, they were basically just going down that wrong road. Where we are today.
So can you read verse 10?
Verse 10. Verse 10. For Moses said, honor thy father and thy mother, and whosoever curseth father or mother, let him die to death. But ye say, if a man shall say to his father or mother, it is korban, or korban, that is to say, a gift, by whatsoever thou mightest be profited by me, he shall be free.
So what was he saying? Yeah, you can do such things. If I'm profiting, you can be let go.
Pay me.
Yeah, pay me off.
Yeah, pay me and I'll pray for your sin.
Right.
Don't worry about it. You know?
But according to what you supposed to be professional in and scholarly in, you're not following that. Because the one that you believe in the most, which is Moshe, said according to this, if you didn't follow this, you shall die. But now you're altering it, now creating the traditions of men. It's a big difference. When you talk about your feast and the commandments, certain commandments, he was talking about the commandments of men. Remember, if his law was done away with, why would he begin the creation with the law? And when we go into the new creation, it's still the law. Where does it say anything different? It doesn't. Where does it say that certain things, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't say these things. So we got to understand and put a difference between the traditions of man and the traditions of man. Some of us confuse these things really because we want to do things our own way. This is why some people get confused with Paul's writing. They're trying to find a loophole. Trying to find a loophole why they got to do certain things.
Verse 12. And ye suffer him no more to do aught for his father or his mother, making the word of God of none effect through your tradition.
Through your what?
Through your tradition.
So now the word of God is into no effect because of your traditions. The word is voided now. It's done away with due to your own tradition. Not because thus saith the Lord. It's your own tradition why it's done away with. It's your own way of life that's why it's done away with. It has nothing to do with God or him saying that it's you and you alone.
Which ye have delivered, and many such like things do ye. And when he had called all the people unto him, he said unto them, hearken unto me, every one of you, and understand. There is nothing from without a man that entereth into him can defile him. But the things which come out of him, those are they that defile the man.
Those are they that defile the man.
If man have ears to hear, let him hear.
Hallelujah. And that's what you want to do?
I would say that right there, that verse, this is Christians' scapegoat to eat pork.
Okay.
The number one thing they go to, it's not what goes into a man that defiles what's coming out of him. But if you keep this in context, why would Mashiach hypocritically about these men establishing their own traditions and doing away with Yah's word, then he turns around and says, now you can eat anything.
Right.
In the context of this, what he's talking about, again, he's talking about the traditions of men. And he's basically dealing with what these diverse washings that these traditions set up. And now he's establishing these traditions are nullifying the commandments that Yah left. So it's the unwashing of hands in these pots and all of these different traditions they established, Mashiach is talking about. And he's really telling them it's their traditions that's defiling them, because these are things that they came up with. So eating with defiled hands or unclean hands is not what's defiling them. It's their traditions that's coming out of their own heart. That's where idolatry starts. It's from the heart.
Okay.
Okay? So don't let anybody ever tell you this is talking about foods. It's talking about their traditions of washing. Christians will take this passage of scripture and literally pervert the truth and say you can eat anything. But that's not what the scripture's saying. Okay?
Okay. And so we're going to seal the deal with this last passage in 2 Timothy chapter 2. And this, when we go through it, this is what it truly means to start going through the purging process. This is what it means to take on the bread of affliction, or really the bread of life. Once you die, you then resurrect in a new life and Mashiach begins. That's the whole purpose of the old man dying. We in 2 Timothy chapter 2, we'll start at verse 19 and read through 22. This is the foundational understanding of what it means to take on the bread of affliction. Okay.
2 Timothy chapter 2, starting at verse 19. Nevertheless, the foundation of God standeth sure. The Lord that are his.
Right, having what seal? Having what seal?
The
The
law.
Ruach. The Ruach can't be filled in anything that has leaven, can it? The seal having the Ruach, bearing the fruits of the Spirit. This is how you know if a person has been purged. Okay? Let's see what that seal is. Come on.
And let everyone that in the name of Christ depart from iniquity.
Be purged.
But in the great house there are not only vessels of gold and of silver, but also of wood and of earth, and the same to honor.
Sometimes.
I'm sorry, and some to honor, and some to dishonor. If a man therefore purge himself from these,
Come on.
he shall be a vessel unto honor.
This is what you earn. Once you become purged, you then earn the right to be a vessel unto
sanctified, and meet for the master's use,
become useful
and prepared unto every good work.
Prepared unto it. This is the whole thing we're talking about. Prepare ye the way. The test of your faith. Leaving off the old man. All this has to do with the bread of life. This is the way of the Mashiach. This is your seal. The likeness of HaMashiach. Period. This is what this means when we take on this living bread. This is our seal of we're saying that we're going to walk and be perfect as Christ. Understanding perfection means to be assimilated to the person of Christ. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So that's it for me. Anybody got any comments, questions? Need somebody standing on something? Y'all good?
Okay.
Hallelujah. So with that, let's enjoy the rest of the evening. Told out everybody who logged in and checked in. We pray all of you are having a good first day or second day for some of y'all of the feast. May the Most High be with you. May he bless y'all. May he shine his face upon y'all. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.